So, I have started looking at there's a channel on YouTube about the fall of civilizations, and I guess I got it in my head to try to see, hey, is this some kind of characteristic signs or cracks that you can see in a civilization before it ends? Because that's always an interesting topic. We always, well, we're not always, but often that is something that we're looking at. Is it the end of the world? I think right now we're at a point where we are very proud and we think that we are so advanced that, the only thing that can take us out is an asteroid. That's it. Or, what is the other one? Is a cosmic flare. Basically, is an intense burst of energy that comes out. Is it from supernovas or does it come about from when yeah, I think it's from supernovas. Anyway, if we are in the line of path, if we're in the path of something like that, it would basically fry the earth. So we think that we're so powerful and advanced at this point that only something really crazy could stop our civilization. And I'm sure every civilization has felt like that. But basically, I think that we're going to end up with an emperor again. I know that's crazy. It's not like it might be the title of this thing. I have not decided on what the title is yet. And I think we're going to end up with slavery coming back. Do I think that that's going to be as a result of some kind of apocalyptical event? No, not really. I think that's just where things are headed. I think that as Disney, bought up all of these different companies and is becoming more and more powerful, and as Google does the same thing, and as companies like Alibaba and all these other companies, these multinational companies become more and more powerful. Right now, they can control and bully and badger small countries. Whether by means of the World Trade Organization or by the means of, demanding certain things from small companies, and they'll come in and say, oh, we'll provide jobs if you do this and that and the other. They can. They can do. There are many companies out there, and many individuals even out there now that can tell countries what to do. And every day, the companies that exist and the people and individuals that exist, more and more power is being consolidated into the hands of fewer and fewer people. And, whether you want to call that person who becomes the one above all in the end, an emperor or king or whatever you want to say, there will at some point be someone, a president of a country, like the guy in charge of China. If China becomes a world global superpower, and the guy in charge of China, who has given himself power for life now, if he says, hey, jump, and we'll just have to say how high, and we might not call him an emperor, but he, in the history books, when we look back at that point, they'll say, well, he was the emperor of Earth, really. So that is undoubtedly coming. I mean, it's always been coming. Whatever era that you live in, there's going to be, it's tending towards that, and that's going to happen. If you look at somebody like Trump, I mean, to me, it is scary and it is hard to believe, but I remember seeing a video of somebody who said they wanted Trump to be king. And a seemingly sane lady said, I was never really in favor of a king or an emperor, but if it's you, definitely, Emperor Trump, Emperor Trump. And for a lot of people, that is true. Whatever he does, as he said, he could shoot somebody and they would still want him to be the leader. So it is just that he does not have enough power right now, by whatever chain of events, but a significant amount of Americans Trump to be want Trump to be emperor. They want him to do just whatever it is that he wants. And part of that is that there's that thing where, oh, I am not your leader, you are my leader, I do what you want. And yeah, he kind of does have to, I think there was some idea that he was against guns for a minute. And he was like, let's put in some certain bans and so on. And I guess they did. They did ban bumper stocks and so on. But there's certain other, paths that he was taking. I mean, even in a sentence, he can contradict himself in a sentence. So, but he tends to do that. If he sees, whoa, this is not going well, then he can say, well, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. But those things are really few and far between. By and large, he can tell people what to do and they seem to like it. So if it's not Trump, if it's not, President Xi, I believe, of China, if it's not Putin, it's going to be somebody sooner or later. And we think democracy is permanent, and we think it's this great thing. But it's just like everything else. It's going to be an end to it. And I don't know how long that empire is going to last, that period where democracy and the say of the people don't really matter. Well, we don't regularly vote anyway. I'm sure the say of the people will matter, but I wonder how long that will last. And with respect to slavery, I do see human slavery coming back. Why? Because if power and wealth is consolidated at the top, it has to come from somewhere. And where it usually comes from is the bottom. The people who can't defend themselves from other people taking, maintenance fees on their account. If you have a certain $15,000, you don't have to pay maintenance fees, right? So that money is coming from the people who are least fit or in the worst position to pay it. The high interest rates. All of these things are just taking money from the people at the bottom. Now, what happens when you don't have anything? What happens when you have less than nothing? Then the only thing you have left is you. And then you're a slave. And slavery exists and has existed since it was supposedly abolished a long time ago. We just don't call it slavery in many instances. When people were sharecroppers, or when people were in whatever situations where they owed more money than they could repay. And the hole that they were in was just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. At some point, it becomes where, listen, you can never get out of this hole. So you're just going to have to do everything that I say from now on. And we look at life and we say, okay, well, why would we need slaves? And, we can have robots. How expensive are robots? How expensive is a robot when you could just, that's the way that slavery works, right? Is, hey, there's a guy over there. I'm going to get him and make him do what I want him to do. Do I have to pull out some money and pay for this product? No, I'll just steal him and that's it. He's going to do what I want him to do. So maybe it won't be the point where you steal somebody, and you take them from one country and you put them in another country, and, maybe it is that they will become a slave from right where they are because they can't afford to pay for transportation and for rent and for healthcare, and for this, and for the other. But yeah, if you keep taking away stuff from the people at the bottom, at the end of the day, the only thing that they will have to use will be themselves, their bodies. And that means it's the same force, the same means, the same system that will create a global emperor. It's the same system that will bring back slavery, because you can drop a slave into some water and his circuit's not going to get fried. You can leave a slave with another slave of the opposite sex, and when you come back, especially depending on how you treat them, you're going to have a new slave. And you can't do that. You have to somebody has to put energy. If you were going to build a robot or something, you'd have to tell, okay, well, you're not going to do anything except build this robot. That's not how kids are. Somebody can strap a baby to their back and work while this baby is growing. And that baby, when it's 5 years old, they can still do something, So it's a lot cheaper and cost effective to have human slaves. So I see that coming back. Hopefully not anytime soon, but it seems inevitable that that's what's going to happen. I'm sure there are other things that will happen as well. I mean, I have been listening to the fall of different civilizations and, what comes with an emperor, what might come with slavery. And the position of an emperor, it is something that is so attractive. To be the most powerful person is so attractive that people are going to vie for that. They're going to vie to be emperor, to be, quote unquote, not really CEO or chairman or whatever. They're going to vie for that. And the things that are going to happen when they die, like in Yugoslavia, when the dictator there died, Yugoslavia fell apart into civil war. If not for outside forces trying to end the war, they might still be in a civil war. That's what happens when the leader dies. So right now things are stable. We have oil. It powers our cars, so it kind of relieves the need for slaves. Technology is there, but at some point, oil is going to be gone. Fossil fuels are going to be gone. That's going to take a couple 100 years. But I think we may have an emperor long before that, because right now slavery exists. Pirates, people find, like for example, fishing boats. That's where modern day slavery happens. Sex trafficking, that's where modern day slavery happens. And that's still on the fringes. But I think that it's very easy for those things to come back. And I think we're on an inexorable pathway to them anyway. If something doesn't bump us into that path prematurely. So I probably sound like the most depressed person ever. But anyway, wish me good lucks, guys. So like or unlike, comment, subscribe and or share. Thank you. Peace.